Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Ross Johnston. The Titans are gearing up for their final preseason game tonight as they take on the Minnesota Vikings at Nissan Stadium. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. Central, and you can listen to it here on The Zone with the Lee Company countdown to kickoff beginning at 4 p.m. In NFL news, the Washington Commanders traded running back Brian Robinson Jr. to the San Francisco 49ers in exchange for a 2026 sixth-round pick per Adam Schefter. Robinson was drafted in the third round of the 2022 draft out of Alabama and had 2,300 rushing yards in his time with the Commanders. In SEC news, yesterday, Commissioner Greg Sankey announced that the conference will begin a 9-game SEC schedule in 2026 for their teams. Sankey stated, quote, adding a 9th SEC game underscores our university's commitment to delivering the most competitive football schedule in the nation. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. We'll be joined by Jordan DeJaney of CBS Sports, and we'll go around the NFL with him. We got all kinds of trades to talk about with him and everything.
Yeah, my shirt was open too much, man. I didn't want the ladies get too excited on the.
Was it? Did you have like a deep V going on?
It was.
Or did you miss a button?
I missed a button. I didn't know. I don't know how that happened.
That happens to me, but that's just because my shirt's a little too tight.
You did that on purpose.
Oh, watch out there, partner.
Yeah.
You did that
calm
on
down,
purpose.
ladies on chat. All right, man. We ready to rock and roll now. Yeah, man. Ross is laughing at me. He might want you.
We do. We have producer Mojo Rojo behind the glass. Ross
is that your
is behind the
nickname,
glass.
Mojo Rojo?
Mojo
No,
Rojo.
it's not. Zach keeps trying to make it a thing.
Oh.
It's a thing for football and other F words, so we'll just carry it over.
So what is your nickname that some people have called you?
Oh, there's multiple.
That's what I'm saying. Just give me a couple. What was your top 2 on your list?
Rossi J or
Rossi J.
Ross the Boss.
Ross the Boss?
Yeah, that's my
I like
that's
that
my
one, Ross the
PlayStation
Boss.
name.
Here's the thing with Ross the Boss. We already had Big Burt Boss or Big Boss Burt. So
Big Boss Burt?
yeah, Robert.
Moving up the
Boss.
food chain.
Yeah, he's the Big Boss Burt.
Big Boss Burt. He's got a plaque back there, I think.
He's got too many.
Little nameplate.
It's a nameplate back
Yeah,
there?
Big Boss Burt.
Where's that at?
I don't know. Maybe he took it home to
No, I don't think that's in there.
Depended
he
on the
may have took
shirt.
it home. All right. The SEC has now decided that it's going to do 9 in-conference games on the schedule starting in 2026, where there's 3 repeating standard opponents for the SEC. And so I kind of put together a little list. And I guess the big question for Tennessee fans, because we were talking about this with Joseph Bonanno, producer 3HL, he said that it likely will be Alabama, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt. But I think the 3 for Tennessee are going to be Alabama, Florida, Vanderbilt. Because Florida is just too good of I know it's newer, but it's too good of a rivalry to just dismiss and throw away. And it gets eyeballs on the screen and everything, because nobody's really tuning in for Tennessee, Kentucky. But Tennessee, yeah, because I mean, like when you think about demographics, areas, audience, Tennessee and Florida just makes so much sense. So that's where I land. Where do you land on that kind of discussion?
For just just for Tennessee?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going with your list, man. You did a fantabulous job. I have to give you kudos, man. This is the one and only time I'm gonna give you that. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, too bad our printer only prints in black and white.
I
This
know,
was
'cause
color coded.
I can't see South Carolina. I didn't see it over here, but
This was color coded.
it's hard to disagree with Alabama, Florida, and Vanderbilt for Tennessee.
Yeah.
I wonder if you think the Alabama fans, you're an Alabama fan, you think they think Tennessee is a rival maybe still today or maybe not before, or what do you think?
One point, I didn't really consider Tennessee a rivalry for Alabama because it just got so out of hand with the way that Alabama just treated Tennessee for a while. I was just like, is this a real?
They gave a butt whooping?
Butt whippings.
Oh, so when did you sway in turn?
Well, I have to say, since Josh Heupel came over,
so this is recent,
I think it's a rivalry renew. So I have to say that with, I think that Alabama's going to win this year, obviously, because Tennessee doesn't have a real quarterback. That with under Josh Heupel, the rivalry will continue. I think that it's almost like you got a breath of fresh air.
So the question is,
CPR.
When did Alabama Tennessee become a true rivalry?
Long time ago. I mean, they've been.
But I meant in your eyes.
Oh yeah, I mean just a few years ago. Again, there was at the beginning of probably
Butch Jones.
I guess you'd say no. Butch Jones.
But did Butch Jones and them beat Alabama? Not one time.
I mean,
he was winning 9 games and then he beat Alabama.
It would have.
He beat Florida.
The last time I would have considered it would have had to have been sometime in the 90s, a true rivalry, because it's really hard to For me, it's Auburn is the main one.
What about late 2000s with the Mount Cody block? Would that have been a time where it was kind of a rivalry?
Probably a little bit. So it's been a while, but now it's renewed.
Well, okay, how do you think Tennessee views the rivalry?
Oh, I know the Tennessee fans. I mean, because I got into a big discussion with Austin Stanley of A to Z Sports at Buck's house. We were doing a podcast or something. We were all three together. And we got in this big discussion. He goes, but Alabama, is rivalry with Tennessee. He just said, I don't know. I mean, I guess that was the discussion.
That was a trigger.
But he said it.
That was a trigger?
I was like, are they? See, for me, competitiveness has to be kind of factored into rivalries and stuff. And it just went so long without really mattering in the big scheme of things, because there was times where both Alabama and Tennessee both kind of sucked at the same time as well. So
isn't that what a rivalry really is, regardless of one team is dominating or not?
I just never really.
It may shift even in a season where the better team loses. Good example is when Vanderbilt would beat Tennessee.
Yeah.
Because that was their biggest game of the year.
But if you look at what Lucas, we were just having a conversation with Lucas.
Yeah.
I guess I would view Tennessee in the way that he views Vanderbilt. For a period of time. I don't view this way anymore. But he's like, if Alabama were to lose to Tennessee, I felt like that says more about Alabama than it does Tennessee. I'd be more mad at Alabama than I would be at Tennessee. That's not the case now, but at a time, for a long stretch of time, for me personally, that's what it felt like.
Right. But that to me, that's more emotional. So if you go 10
I'm an
years
emotional person as a fan.
You beat somebody, but it was a rivalry. The rivalry is still there, even though you're dominating the winning.
I feel like
it's always going to be there.
I feel like sometimes in rivalries that here's how I kind of view it. Sometimes in rivalries, one team thinks they're the rival when they're really not. Because
that's true.
So Cleveland probably thinks it's a big time rival of all these other AFC North teams when it's really nobody's really thinking about Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? On some of these. Now they hate them. They want to beat them. But it's if you were to ask us, the Steelers for a period, it felt like it was Steelers Bengals. But if you probably ask Steelers, probably Steelers and Ravens, right? That feels more like a rivalry than, Steelers and Cleveland or Steelers or Ravens and Cleveland, really, to me. That's from the outside looking in.
Yeah, well, I want comparing pro and college is just a different element. Now I get when you're in division and you play the guys twice, you don't like those.
There's a lot more tradition,
right.
I think, rooted in the Tennessee, Alabama, and I wasn't around for a lot of that tradition, and it's not like we're a legacy Alabama family. I mean, I wasn't an Alabama fan until early, I guess
until they won a championship.
No, mid 80s, 80. I guess it would have been either 89 when I was 4 or 5. I guess 89 or 90. Whenever I was in preschool.
You remember when you were 4 or 5?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, it was a little bit of it, not everything.
You remember Big Boss?
But my dad, here's the thing. My dad wasn't an Alabama fan, so he's not deep. We weren't raised in I mean, our family is from the Kentucky area. That's not from the Alabama area.
What was your dad? What was he a fan of?
He was Kentucky, but when he started realizing his business depends on Alabama fandom of some sort when he lived in Alabama. He is an Alabama
Smart
fan.
move.
It's smart, very smart move. And he has not changed since moving up here. Now, my mom has changed. She's gone from Kentucky to Alabama to now Tennessee since moving up here. She's her hometown wherever she lives, Rooter.
Got you. That makes sense.
But for me, so I think I lack that lineage for me to really appreciate whatever was going on with Alabama. Because, those things get passed down, especially in SEC. Those traditions, those heated hates and rivalries, deep-seated things are passed down from generation to generation. And so a lot of the time before this new situation or coming up with Josh Heupel and this kind of rivalry renewed, I just never had an emotional attachment to the Tennessee rivalry. But now I do, because I don't like it when Tennessee and Alabama loses to Tennessee, because I have now almost 1,000 friends that are all UT fans, and it's they get in those text messages and those DMs pretty hardcore.
So who do you think is the 3 Tennessee rivals come 2026 that has to be on the schedule, right? That's the question?
Yeah, that's the question. So call in 615-737-1045. I say Alabama, Florida, and Vanderbilt, because you got to keep the in-state stuff. Got to keep the in-state stuff. But that's where I lean. Because, again, I don't know if Kentucky is, again, a true rivalry.
It's hard to disagree with that. Yeah, Alabama, Florida, Vanderbilt. You have any objections there, Ross?
But, it's tough because I know with the way it works out, you got to kind of match everything up. I'm just thinking, based on recent history, instead of Vandy for Tennessee, Georgia would be better because of the competition level and the type of players. But if Vandy keeps on this upward trajectory with them being the in-state team, I would have no problems with them being on there.
You said Georgia. Well, what is Tennessee's record versus Georgia? Do you think Georgia looks at them as a rival?
I do. It's one of those situations where I think, despite the winning, it's still a rivalry. Georgia still looks at them like it's Tennessee. We got to be on our A game.
Ooh. I don't know if that Georgia one is. I don't know. You think that's a little bit of a rivalry there?
No.
Georgia, Tennessee?
I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong, but again,
it's always a big game. Naturally, every SEC's a big. But especially when you're talking about the head honchos.
For Georgia,
Alabama,
it was real easy for me to fill in. Georgia's was Florida, Auburn, Kentucky, and there was a guy that writes for the Ringer at the Athletic. I don't know which one. Man, I may be wrong on that one too. But his name's Pat Smith, and he 2 years ago when this was first proposed, he put out a kind of a list like I just did, and he thought Florida, Auburn, Kentucky for Georgia.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
Yeah.
Man, Tennessee on the Georgia. So who would you X out if you're Tennessee and you want to put Georgia on the list?
I'd say Vandy, but
that's the only one.
But I also get why they're in there.
Where's Vandy going to go? That's an in-state.
That's a good point.
Okay, we're getting some calls in, so let's go to David. David, man. You're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, what's up, guys? Listen, man, been Tennessee fan from back in the Johnny Majors day, man. On Saturday afternoons, riding to the dump in the old Chevy pickup truck, we'd listen to Johnny Majors on the AM radio. So I've been at this a while. I tell you, boys, it's got to be Georgia, Alabama, and Florida. I mean, those are my 3. I'd love it if Vandy was relevant, but they're just not. I don't even know if Vandy makes it in the SEC. As the SEC continues to get bigger, do they even stay in the conference? That's all I got, guys. Those are my 3 cents.
Now, see, he says that. He says Vandy, and then he's like, oh, Vandy's not doesn't really do anything for Tennessee fans. But then he just continues to trash them. See, there's some hate in that call towards Vanderbilt. Because he's like, I don't even know if they'll be in the SEC. Okay, so what if Vandy comes into your house this year, it's very possible, and beats you? How are you feeling about Vandy then? Are you blaming Tennessee, or are you are you mad at Tennessee, or are you mad at Vandy?
Tennessee, you're hyper?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, man. Vanderbilt has to be a rival. I know Tennessee.
You can't get rid of in-state rivals.
Now, first of all, let's start with, if you're Vanderbilt, a private school in the SEC conference, the best conference in college football, why in the heck would you walk away from that TV revenue? So I want people to kind of pump the brakes on Vandy shouldn't be in the conversation. Kick them out. That's not going to happen. This is business. Who would leave? I don't even know if they are able to even kick them out. Are they?
I don't think so.
They can't kick them out.
But
they wouldn't leave on their own. Where else are they going to go unless there's a private school conference? Like, there's no way if I'm the brass there that I'm ever leaving the SEC. Sorry, you're stuck with our sorry butts if you want to look at it that way.
Well,
no way.
And also look at this, Tennessee Vanderbilt. If memory serves, what Joseph said is that there's only been like 3 times since 1921 or 0 times since 1921. Can't remember which one it was, that they haven't played each other in football. I mean, and one of those reasons was because there was a war. So, like, I'm sorry, Vanderbilt's a rival for University of Tennessee, and I understand they're maybe not a competitive rival, but it's a rival. Like, I get that because I didn't think for a time that Tennessee was a competitive rival.
Alabama. Right.
With Alabama. Mm-hmm. But it's a rival. Calls are coming in. 615-737-1045 is the number. We'll continue taking your phone calls on the rivals when we come back. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door, 615-737-1045. And don't forget, we're live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. And we normally would talk to Jordan DeJaney in this segment, but we pushed him back. Because the phone lines are blowing up.
Or did he push us back?
Maybe he pushed us back.
Okay.
But no, the phone lines are blowing up because we're talking about rivalries, college football. Who are the 3 teams that you want Tennessee to face? Or if you're a fan of another SEC team, who are the rivalries, the 3 mainstays you need to see year in and year out? So we're going to go through these phones. 615-737-1045 is the number. Let's go to George. You're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey. What if so I like keeping Alabama for tradition, keeping Vandy for in-state, but is there anything against adding a new rivalry and doing a battle of UT and add Texas to the mix?
I mean, I like it. I've heard this brought up a few times. Thanks, George.
So Xing out Florida.
Well, Texas wouldn't be a state if it wasn't for Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
So let's just be real about where Texas is at. They need to be thanking Tennessee. The Battle of the Oranges, right? Both the ugliest color oranges you can imagine on the field at the same time.
You're just throwing shots all over the place.
Would that be the
Bevo
new
versus Smokey?
Would that be the new Alamo Bowl?
Yeah, it could be something like that. Yeah.
May regret if you do ask for that. Just know what may come with it. By the way, they are preseason number 1.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I get it. Hey, listen, I'm all for having competitive games.
Oh, yeah.
But man, that's a tall order to ask right now to want to go up them. But hey, you want to go up against the best of the best? More power to you.
Okay, let's say that Tennessee and Texas become a rival, and you take out Florida. How upset do you think the fans would be about that? Tennessee no longer playing Florida.
See, that's the thing. Like, I think the large chunk of Tennessee, and maybe I'm wrong, 615-737-1045. I think the large chunk of the fan base for the Tennessee Volunteers would hate missing out on Florida.
Oh, man. Because the battle, there's a lot of intrigue there with the battle of who's the real UT.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much you could do with it.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, wouldn't that...
So you know what people would say? They'd take out Vanderbilt. That's what they would do.
One. They would take out Vanderbilt
and not
the other
put
2
Georgia.
Are too big.
But now let me say this. If they take out Vanderbilt, then you're playing Alabama, Florida, and Texas every year.
Ooh.
That's some competitive football right there.
You better get your stuff right.
Better find that quarterback. I mean, that would be an insanely tough schedule. That would be really tough for them. But hey, it would make it interesting, right? A new rivalry blooming. I think it would be pretty good.
I think I like that one.
I like Georgia's suggestion. Just not sure we could fit it in because then you look at Texas, right? Texas has Oklahoma.
I'm taking out Florida, by the way.
Yeah. Texas has Oklahoma, Texas A&M. You got to lock those 2 in. Arkansas and Texas have a rivalry from back in the day.
Yes, they do.
And so, yeah, you could put Tennessee instead of Arkansas if you wanted to. But man, that's a pretty good. I have to go with George on this one. I'm kind of liking it, kind of digging it.
I do too.
Let's go to Denver Dan, who wants to talk about the rivals. Denver Dan, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Good afternoon, Blaine and Zach. Good to talk with you. My recommendation is similar to the last guy. Let's look to the future, look west, and build a new rivalry. I'm thinking Oklahoma every year would be fantastic. I know they kind of suck right now, but they've been really good. It's a legacy program like UT. I'd like them, or I'd like Missouri also because of the proximity. But I like the OUUT. Thanks.
Oh. So what's the 3? What's the 3 you're going for?
Pardon me?
What's your 3 teams for Tennessee? Oklahoma?
It's up to me. I'd drop Vanderbilt, but I know we can't do that because they're in-state. So it's got to be Bama, Vanderbilt, and then one of the Western teams, Oklahoma or Missouri for me.
Gotcha.
Why Oklahoma for you?
Well, because, I'll tell you, this is going to color everything. I'm from Denver. I've been here since 1976, so I'm a Tennessean now, but I grew up in the Big 8, and always admired, for Colorado, but I always admired Oklahoma because they were great at one time.
Very
they were constantly in the mix for the number one team. And the Selman brothers and all the great people that have come out of there. It's a legacy program, just like some years UT is a national title contender. Most of the time, no, but UT is still, I'm talking Tennessee, not Texas. Tennessee is still a really good competitive team every year, could be a national title winner. But I think there's a lot of similarity between the programs in terms of legacy. Do you agree with that?
I like that. I like that.
Oklahoma has a laundry list of
Dan.
history in NCAA football. Yeah, no doubt.
I think that's a well-reasoned, sound argument.
From the stoplight.
But
I
don't, with the turn signal.
Yeah.
but I just don't think the fans are going to buy it.
I don't know. I mean, that's two fans back-to-back who've said, give me someone new.
Right. No, I mean, but
yeah.
Oklahoma, I would still go with,
It's tough. It's just tough to get rid of it when you start talking getting down into this.
I still want the Texas, Tennessee, who's the real UT.
Yeah. Oh. That's a good one. That's the one. If you're going to go new, that's the one you got to go with. In my opinion, yeah. And I do love he had great reason for Oklahoma. I love it,
no doubt.
Let's go to Whit. Whit, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hello, I am a Nashville native, but I went to University of Florida, and I went there during Spurrier's golden years. So I was there for all that, and I can tell you, in Florida, people in Florida did not consider UT a rivalry.
See?
They considered FSU the number one rivalry, and that's not even in conference. And then Georgia, and even though we didn't see them every year, LSU. Oh. And if you look at since Florida's been playing since like 92, I mean, Florida's won like 27 of 34 meetings. It's not like it's, 50-50.
Where was Florida and LSU?
I have them on my list.
I know. I'm not saying
it's not. Of course, I mean, I think it's more of a rivalry just because of the memory back of the former. Spurrier was just great against everybody,
right?
And even more so with his mouth. But you know what I'm saying? And on a totally side topic to this, because I heard this early, and I wonder what you think. If Kentucky is not put in as Tennessee's one of their rivalries, who is Kentucky's rivals? Do they have any?
Georgia's one, and obviously Louisville.
Kentucky?
But like Kentucky, okay, so here's what I got, who would be your third game? Because I have Georgia, LSU for Florida. Who would be your third rival?
That's the problem for us. It's not in conference because now they want us to play Miami all the time. So we have Miami and FSU out there as rivals that everybody in the state wants us to play, on top of the actual in-conference rivalry.
Yeah, but you're going to have an in-conference guy. So that's why I put Tennessee.
Like I said, I mean, for most of them down there, it could be South Carolina. It could probably
Gotcha.
South Carolina.
You know what I mean? Wow. It could be Georgia. It could be Auburn or Alabama. But believe it or not, LSU's figures way more in their minds than Tennessee.
Oh, I would definitely agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely agree with that.
I think Tennessee, like I said, it probably stems from all the former hate from Spurrier. I think in Tennessee fans' mind, it's a bigger rivalry than it is in Florida fans.
Interesting. Well, there you go. We appreciate it, Whit. As for his Kentucky question, I put down Vanderbilt, South Carolina, and Georgia. I mean, again, it's just kind of some of these guys. See, when you're building a list like this, what I've kind of noticed is that you get your big games kind of all settled, and then you kind of look at a team like Kentucky or Mississippi State, and you're kind of like, well, who's it going to be for them? Or Vanderbilt, Kentucky is like, who's it going to be for them? And so some of these
three teams, there's always one. For sure.
There's always one, but three teams is kind of hard to do. So you just kind of have to just shove them in there. So there's going to be an opportunity to create new rivalries among this whole thing. And let's be honest, South Carolina in my list has Missouri, Kentucky, Vanderbilt. That all kind of makes sense. Battle of Columbia for Missouri versus South Carolina. You got, Kentucky kind of close to them in geographic location, and same with Vanderbilt. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's when you get to a certain point, once you get the big ones out of the way, it's kind of tough to build some rivalries here because
That's why
he
I love
is
asking
right.
the fans,
Yeah.
who do they view as real rivalries in South Carolina?
Because he's right, because he's a Florida fan, right? So I think he brings up a good point. South Carolina's big rivals, Clemson. His big rivals, Florida State, now maybe Miami, but also, Georgia and LSU. Totally understand that, but we're going to have 3 for every team.
Pick 3.
That's crazy. Let's go to James, who's on his way to Nissan Stadium. James, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Oh, early.
Hey, guys, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, you tailgating early?
All right, yeah. When I think about rivals, I think about a little bit more than just the football matchups. Like these are the teams I want to beat when we're playing them in basketball, when we're playing them in baseball, whatever sport it is. I feel really good about it when we beat them. I totally agree with your list. I think it's Alabama, Vanderbilt, and Florida. I'd be interested to play UT, Texas for the battle of UTs, but to me, it's Vanderbilt, Alabama, and Florida. And it's also when I think about the rivals, I kind of think about when your team was at their best, what were the teams that messed everything up for you? So I think those teams all sort of fit into that category, except for maybe Vanderbilt, which I just love that matchup every year.
Yeah, I'm with you, James. We appreciate it. I guess maybe an also kind of a side question for the Tennessee fans that may be on the line right now, the Tennessee fans calling in. I mean, like, how much do you consider Kentucky a rival? Because I've seen a few people in the F&M Bank chat on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live, specifically YouTube, really say, well, Kentucky is a huge rival. It's a massive rival. And maybe this is a generational thing as well, because some of the younger fans here at the station don't really consider Kentucky a huge rival. But I just am like, who are you going to put them in over? Vanderbilt? Well, that's an in-state rivalry. Florida? That's a big moneymaker and a good rivalry for you guys. And you're not going to get rid of the third Saturday in October, which is against Alabama. So I don't know. Like, that's another interesting question. Let's go to Eli. Eli, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Cigars.
Hey, fellas, good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you.
I've been a Vanderbilt fan my whole life, right? And, all the Vols fans, they love to say it's not a rivalry, but then once they lose, oh, man, the hate that comes out of their mouth. They always love to talk about how bad Vanderbilt is, right? And normally, if something's not a rivalry, you don't care about the other person.
I agree.
Some of our rivalries, not even Kentucky, as a Vanderbilt fan, I don't really consider Kentucky a rivalry. I think Ole Miss and Missouri have more of a rivalry with us than they do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Interesting. I'll take that. I like that right there, Eli, because, I mean, if you don't consider them a rivalry, because, I mean, I tell you, I see the bickering back and forth on Twitter all the time between Vanderbilt fans and UT fans, baseball season specifically.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe some people are separating their sports, right? Well, they're not really a big rivalry in football as much as they are maybe basketball and baseball, specifically baseball. I don't know. It'll just be interesting. Let's go to Devin. Devin, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, how are you guys doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Good.
Doing great. I'm also a Florida fan. The previous caller, I agree and I disagree in 2 points here. I definitely think we have to play Georgia and we have to play Tennessee. I am of the younger generation, but I do think that the Tennessee and Florida rivalry is it's just gonna create down the road. I think it's going to become one of the better rivalries overall. And I love playing Tennessee every year. I think people love to watch it. So, but yeah, besides Tennessee and the Georgia, I think that we either need to play LSU or Kentucky. So that would be what I think. Thank you, guys.
There you go.
Oh, man,
I do think there's a generational divide when we talk about these rivalries. And that's okay to acknowledge.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, we're talking about building new traditions or continuing on traditions.
So that's the conflict that SEC is in.
Yeah, because they're going to be looking at this.
Historical rivalries versus new ones.
Because some of these are money makers, quote-unquote money makers, marquee matchups, right?
So that's Alabama, Tennessee?
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't Florida and Tennessee last year a primetime game?
That was in Death Valley, right?
I think it was.
But it was in the Gator Chunk. What's it called? What's the stadium called?
Swamp?
The Swamp. But I think it was a primetime game, if I'm not mistaken. So, again, when you're talking about bringing in the state of Tennessee, which is very dedicated to its football team, the University of Tennessee Volunteers, and the whole demographic of Florida and trying to get eyeballs and audience and sponsors and all this stuff, I do think that's going to play into how the SEC kind of views this. They're going to kind of use money, follow the money sometimes. Always follow the money. Let's go to Chuck. Chuck, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Play Georgia.
Hey guys, I'm 68 and I'm an old schooler. You got to keep Kentucky because of the beer barrel. You got to keep Florida because of the 500 miles of hate, and you got to keep Alabama. Now you can make Texas, Arkansas, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma their rivals, but I think the Kentucky, Florida, and Alabama's got to stay with Tennessee.
So Chuck, before you go, you would get rid of Vanderbilt. So why would you get rid of Vanderbilt?
Like I said, I think you got to take the tradition of the beer barrel of Kentucky over just the in-state rivalry. That beer barrel rivalry, you talk about the money. There's a lot of money travels between Lexington and Knoxville. Not as much travels between Nashville and from Vanderbilt. So I would say with Kentucky over Vanderbilt.
All right, I like it, Chuck, because he brought up the money,
the barrel,
and the barrel.
What is there even like a nickname for Tennessee Vanderbilt's rivalry? Like the third Saturday in October, November for Florida Bama. Is there?
Right.
There's no nickname for the Vandy game. Texas could be just Battle of UTs, obviously.
Right. Does not have an official name, but some fans have proposed the Country Music Bowl, the I-40 Bowl, or the Smoky Mountain Bowl.
Smoky Mountain.
I'm actually kind of surprised there's not like a big name for that. I mean, even Ole Miss and Mississippi State got the Egg Bowl. Let's go to Harley, who wants to talk about this whole conversation. Harley, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys. I appreciate y'all taking me, but I think it's got to stay with Kentucky. There's the last dude I agree with a lot. I'm a younger generation, but I agree with the old timer. There's a lot of money that travels back and forth. A lot of these counties in northern Tennessee, southern Kentucky, and stuff. There's a lot of crossover, bleed over between Kentucky fans, Vols fans, and it's a big deal to a lot of people in northern Tennessee. I do know that Clarksville is a big Kentucky following, stuff like that. So I feel like the issue is because you got to have Florida in there, you got to have Bama in there, and you got to have Vandy in there. So you have four. But the SEC is going to look at it and say which one makes the most money, and I think go with Florida in that case and kick out Kentucky. I'm more of a Vandy fan than a UT fan, so I would support. I don't know, it's just hard. You got four to play in only 3 games. I don't know what the answer is, but I think they'll hold the money, which might end up losing out on Vandy. I'll hang up and let them listen.
Thanks. I'm assuming they came up with 3 permanent rivals or 3 permanent games because of, I guess, schedule math or something. But it really feels like some of these teams you could almost done 4 out of the 9 games that are constant. And maybe the schedule just doesn't work out that way when you start doing the math. We'll continue this conversation, 615-737-1045. When we come back, we're going to go with Scott on the phone line and Alex on the phone line. And if you guys want to call in and weigh in on your idea for these SEC rivalries, feel free to do it. We'll take those calls. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. We're talking all things SEC rivalries as the SEC is moving for football to a 9 SEC game, or I guess you should say 9 conference games per season. And 3 of those are going to be mainstays, who should be Tennessee's mainstays, and why or why not should it be Kentucky? We've heard a couple of people talk about the history with the beer barrel, which, by the way, I know there's a story behind the beer barrel, but at this point, shouldn't it be like a whiskey or bourbon barrel? Let's update it to what's actually going on.
There you go, changing the story.
Sorry, just trying to change tradition.
We don't even know what the real
you got Jack Daniels down here, and you have all the Bourbon Trail up there, and all that kind of stuff. It just feels like it should be maybe a different
real and
alcohol.
what isn't, man? Come on. We frozen out here, Ross?
Let's go to Scott.
That's
Scott,
computer.
You're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey guys, I'll just be curious to see what the SEC does decide with these 3 permanent teams for each team, because are they going on traditional rivalries or rivalries, or are they just going to sort of, like you said, create new rivalries? Because I'm afraid that some teams, which this may happen no matter what, but that some teams are going to obviously end up with maybe a much easier 3-game schedule out of those than others. I mean, if Tennessee had Florida, Georgia, and Alabama, well, that's much tougher 3-game permanent schedule than if they had Kentucky, Vandy, and Alabama.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't do the Georgia.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm. I wish they would just, since they're doing something new, I kind of wish they would just have a 9-game schedule, rotate them all, and go that way. But they're not doing that. But anyway, I'm just afraid that it's going to work out, and some teams are probably going to get a little get the shaft on some of it. But
let me ask you this: you would go, instead of tradition, you'd lean more new?
I think I would, yeah. I mean, again, since they've gone away from the East and West. They've gone away from the 2 different sections. So, and now they're going to add a 9th game. Let's just have them 9 games, rotate them all out, and make sure everybody plays everybody within a couple of years, and just kind of go with that way. That's kind of what I wish they would do.
And create new rivalries with different teams that's coming in the conference. Texas, Oklahoma, even Missouri.
It's a good opportunity to do so, right? And do it now instead of trying to do it later. We appreciate that idea, Scott.
Wonder how open do you think the fans would be to that?
I just don't. I think you would have to have at least one mainstay, right? Like you can't do that and get rid of the Iron Bowl. You can't do that and get rid of, the cocktail party between Georgia and Florida. Like the Egg Bowl, you can't get rid of the Egg Bowl. What you got?
I just said Red River.
Yeah,
too.
you can't get rid of Red River rivalry.
Right. Texas, Oklahoma. Like
there's some that are just mainstays you have to do. And he is right. When you're building this 3-game format like I did, there are teams that, relative to what they are right now, probably have easier schedules. And there are some teams that have tougher schedules. Because, I mean, if you look at Georgia, Florida, Auburn, Kentucky, that right now is a very favorable schedule for Georgia. But if you look at Tennessee, or let's do Florida instead. They have Tennessee, Georgia, LSU. That's a much tougher schedule compared to where everything is right now. But those are the rivalries. That's just kind of how the SEC has always worked. Some of your rivalries just ain't going to be that competitive in some games. So it is true that, there is going to be a strength of schedule issue no matter how you do it if you're trying to keep the rivalries. Now, if you're trying to do something new and create new things and new rivalries, then maybe it's a little bit more balanced.
So that's the new question.
Yeah.
You go with the 3 rivalry games, or do you do one and say every year you have one rivalry, each team, and then we're going to rotate the schedule so now everybody gets to play everybody and let the rivalries recreate with the new teams that are in the conference and this new format for the playoffs.
So, I don't know how does forcing a rivalry even work? How do you get people
you don't
to buy
force
in?
A rivalry, you let it happen automatically.
Well, I guess you're doing one secured game.
Yeah. Going to his idea.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I was thinking like if they tried to do it with the 3 games. Okay, then you have these 2 new games. You can't really force a rivalry.
You can't do that,
right? You know what I'm saying?
You have to go once.
That is the hard part with it. Unless you have some like real buy-in, like you could easily do Tennessee, Texas, right? Because there's so much overlap there that could easily be a new rival no matter what.
Mm-hmm. And if you did that, and let's say you X'd out Vanderbilt, you still want to keep the moneymaker Florida. Wouldn't it still be somewhat of a rivalry with Vanderbilt just because it's in state?
Yeah. And so, like, think about it this way. If you're trying to force Tennessee and, I don't know, Tennessee probably hates everybody. Tennessee and Mississippi State. Do we think that has the same oomph as some of these other games? I mean, they may hate the cowbell or something like that, but you got to have some oomph behind this, some history behind it. I will have to say that. Oomph.
Oomph.
Let's go to Alex, who's been waiting patiently. Alex, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Yeah, I think there's a critical part of this rivalry debate that hasn't been talked about yet.
What you got for us?
Especially in regards to this Tennessee, who are the 3 teams, okay? So you could make an argument that, say, Kentucky's number 4 for Tennessee. They're not in the 3.
Okay.
But you've got to reverse it and ask Kentucky fan, who are Kentucky's 3 biggest rivals? And if you ask that question, there is a 100% guarantee that Kentucky fan is saying Tennessee is in their top 3, maybe number 1. So you know what I think's going on here, Zach? I think Alabama fan on the airwaves here can't stomach the thought of Tennessee getting that Vandy, Kentucky draw after 30 or 40 years of Tennessee being one of 2 teams that had to play Georgia, Florida, and Bama every year.
So would you still keep Alabama, though?
Oh, absolutely. I think the 3, as a Tennessee fan, the 3 is definitely either Alabama, Florida, Vandy, or Alabama, Vandy, Kentucky. Those are the only 2 ways that I think this will go.
And I think I agree with you on that realistically it will be that. But I don't know if the SEC really cares what Kentucky fans think, to be honest with you. When you're talking about football, they may not care. So I'm kind of approaching it from that perspective myself. Is that like what would, if I was commissioner of the SEC in charge of making sure we were generating the most revenue, how would I be able to maximize it?
Right. No, I get it. That's a fair argument.
But I do agree with what you're saying. I do definitely agree with that. I don't agree that I'm letting my bias show, though. So I have to disagree with you there, but I do appreciate you calling it out. I love it. Thanks, Alex, for the call.
Have a good one.
You too.
Blaine, he said Zach was ducking. Zach's trying to dodge competition in the SEC.
I do not want to get rid of the 3rd Saturday in October. In fact, I don't care who's on Tennessee's schedule as long as Alabama is, and we can beat that butt. Let's go to John real quick to wrap up the conversation. John, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Good.
I'm good. I like the 9-game conference schedule because it gives the opportunity for, in 4 years, each player that stays 4 years can play in every Coliseum conference twice.
Cool.
Because, you've got 3. You can't do it all by money because Wake Stop, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Missouri, they don't have any games because they won't make any money. So you can't base it only on money.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
You have to go by history and length of competition between the teams. That's why I think Kentucky, Vandy, Alabama is it for Tennessee.
There you go. I appreciate it, John. Some good insight from John. I agree. Somewhat.
You don't agree with the money part?
I'm still leaning with Florida because of the money. I mean, like, I get what he's saying, and that's why I think it's going to be hard to create new rivalries because of the tradition part. And I'm not sure any of the new rivalries really also can generate the extra revenue outside of a few select ones. You get what I'm saying? To make up for the tradition. All right.
This is the commissioner,
It's
man.
the commissioner.
Ooh, man, this is a tough call right here, man.
I'd love for them to actually do a documentary with how they decide this.
Ooh.
That would be one of the best documentaries produced about football, I bet.
They don't want anything of this coming out about
I'm sure they
it's
don't.
Always
but
about
I would love
the
to
money.
hear their opinions and all that kind of stuff. I'd love to hear. When we come back, we got an actual football game we do need to talk about as the Tennessee Titans face the Minnesota Vikings tonight. What we are looking forward to in this game, what Cam Ward needs to show us, what this defense needs to show us, and what competition going on the rosters are still open. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door, 615-737-1045. It's time to talk Tennessee Titans versus Minnesota Vikings, which is going to be played tonight at Nissan Stadium. And just real quick, these are the players that are out for Tennessee. There will be no Calvin Ridley, Kevin Zeitler, Tony Pollard, Lloyd Cushenberry, J.C. Latham, Tavondre Sweat, Kevin Winston, Tajay Spears, Matt Landers, L'Jarius Sneed, and Isaiah Rakes will not be there. So 3. Now, Cam has been playing without 2 of his starting offensive linemen. Zeitler and Cush have not been out there. Now, Latham will not be out there, so you assume that either Oli Udoh, Jalen Duncan, or John Ojukwu will get the start at right tackle. They have said that Cam Ward is going to play roughly the same amount that he's been playing, which has been roughly 10 to 15 snaps, depending on how long the drive has been. Blaine, does J.C. Latham being out change anything about that approach, or are you good to go with Cam Ward to play 10 to 15 snaps?
I don't know. What do you think?
I kind of look at it as like, hey, your offensive line's never going to be perfect. Now, you don't want to be 3 people down. But this is a good learning experience of some sort to kind of like see how he maneuvers the pocket when there's a new tackle out to the right.
Yeah, this is a tough call. That's 3 guys out there. And then we're talking about tackles. You can kind of cover up for your guards, but I would still want to go with them, and then we'll go from there. I don't know how much the other team is. The Vikings are playing their players. So do you know?
I don't know, but I know they've gotten a slew of injuries, and they're desperate for wide receivers and everything. But of course, that doesn't affect the Tennessee Titans offense. But I would assume that I haven't seen, so I guess I shouldn't assume. What do you need to see from Cam Ward that you haven't seen already?
Well, see, this is how the needle moves to me. I wanted to see more in this game if I was theoretically saying everybody was going to be healthy and play in this game.
Yeah.
That's not the case as far as offensive line and some of his skill players. So with that being said, I don't know. I would have thought about him playing only 1 series, no series, or 3 series. It's just, he's a commodity that can't be injured going into this season. It's just 3 guys out. It's a big difference. People don't understand. There's a big difference between the first team and the second team. There's a reason why you're second team. Now, not all second teamers are second teamers. Some of them should be first. It's just they're in a situation where they can't be number 1. But this offensive line, I think, has done a really good job, and that's a tough call for a coach for me.
This should be a little bit muddier of a pocket. Maybe not like an insane amount or anything, but it should be a little bit.
I would consider.
Yeah.
Here's the only reason why I hesitate, and that's why I'm hesitating on it's prime time, only home game in the preseason, only time a lot of people are going to get to see, Cam Ward. That does factor in. This is a business, so they got to play him. But man, I do not like as a coach playing them with 3 offensive linemen not playing starters. I did not like that.
I think of course we're talking about what we want to see from Cam Ward. And for me it's like, okay, maybe that's the wrong question to ask, because I lean into, we've kind of see them have these specific game plans and do specific plays and kind of like force plays. Like last week is about going deep a lot.
Yeah.
It's about forcing it to Elikiah Manor. I'd like to see something reminiscent. Doesn't have to be, something kind of crazy like Brian Daboll's been doing up in New York for Jackson Dart. But I would like to see some kind of game script that would be an opening game script for the regular season. I want to see a few run plays, want to see a few, screen plays or this or that, whatever you would maybe, without showing your hand, what you would have Cam and ask him to do in the opening series of a game is what I kind of want to see from him, because I don't feel like we've really seen that quite yet. We haven't seen that kind of, I guess you would say, game script, opening game script, 15 plays kind of deal with Cam Ward. And maybe they tried to do it that first week and he just went 3 and out, right? Mm-hmm. But I would like to maybe see a little bit more of a balanced offensive attack. So it's really nothing from Cam Ward's side that I need to see. It's more of maybe what I need to see from the offense.
I would say naturally you always want to see a disciplined team, especially your first group, not have any frivolous penalties, 5 yards and put you back. Just see if they can be disciplined. I want to see operations, which you've seen. I like to see them. I don't know if I really care about the script. I think that's more coaching. I want to see other guys get involved. I want to see another Gunnar Helm, down the seam. I want to see Chig get involved in the shorter part of the game. He's a great run after catch guy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see what guys can actually do in games more so than script for me. That's just
there
kind of
are
me.
a lot of times where we've seen, obviously because they're trying to give Elikai a manner, but last week there were times where the underneath guy was open, your Chig or your Tony, I guess it would have been Julius Chestnut or Khalil Mullins, but like the safety valve, that guy that's kind of underneath open and he's going deep. And now that's kind of his tendency,
right,
is to go deep for the big play first and try to get it in there. But maybe to what you're saying, let's get more guys involved that are a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage that can get you those yards after catch. He's talked about, I got to trust my guys to let them go make plays. Well, to do that, you got to kind of get them involved.
Yeah, you got to get the ball to them. So, that I want to see more out of DK and Alec, but they're probably going to play more even without him.
Yeah.
So I just want to see more out of, especially DK. I feel like we haven't seen anything. And as I've been saying, I still haven't seen this burst of 4.3 speed yet.
Because there's still a lot of hesitation, I feel like, or something.
That means he's a little unsure on what he's supposed to do or hesitant because, maybe somebody's flashing across him. But I want to see that. I want to see playmakers make something out of that. Make some guys miss.
Yeah.
That's one thing that's been a long time. We've gotten players where you get them a sharp pass, or even if it was a running back, and they can make a guy miss and then turn a 5-yard gain into 15, 20
well, you
yard
had
gain.
like Derrick Henry, Jonnu, and A.J. Brown. Those are the three guys that really come to mind when you talk about it, and they're all gone.
CJ2K is
well, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just talking recently.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
So it's just I want to see more of that. And it's been some other guys too, but I want to see that.
Yeah.
More so than
because it doesn't feel like we've really seen that, and because I know everybody really wants, really loves the Elikai Manor catch. It's a great catch. It's a great throw. But that's about it for Elikai Manor. It's been that one time. There's been a lot of times where he hasn't been able to get to the spot that Cam Ward is thrown to. There's a couple of times where we've seen DK hesitate. We haven't really seen Chig get involved in the passing game. And we haven't really seen Cam Ward and Gunnar Helm connect, right? That Gunnar Helm touchdown was from Brandon Allen.
Right. That's why I
Let's
said
get
I wanted
everybody else involved.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Because to me, that's how you become a really good team. Because in the beginning, Calvin Ridley, but then teams are going to start trying to take him away. So other guys are going to have to step up, and then now it balances out, your offense. So I want to see that on the offensive side. I want to see defense to be stressed. And when I say stressed, I mean I want to see them man-to-man in the corners. I want to see them some blitzing, aggressive nature play to see if we can play without Snead and see what you're made of.
Yeah.
Like it's as far as covering, because you're going to have to do this in games because your front four may not get pressure.
Right.
So let's see what it looks like. But, some players are being stressful positions, which you wouldn't call those plays in a regular season game more often than not. So I just kind of want to see that. They've been playing aggressive for a team that doesn't have really a superstar that's been playing. I think they have played really aggressive, at least the first groups on defense. So I want to see them attack a little bit more.
Ross, what you got?
I agree. Going back to the receivers, the rookies, DK and Io Manor, if y'all remember last week, each of them had a third down target. I believe Chimerays was 3rd and 13, and he ran kind of a basic over the middle they just missed on, and then Ellick was a slot fade on 3rd and 2, and they just missed on that as well. Those are those learning moments that you really like to see. Like, I don't mind those incompletions at all in the preseason, so I want to see tonight if they've been able to talk some of that stuff out and kind of iron out these simple details on plays like that so they can hopefully tonight connect on some of those tighter window throws like we saw them miss last week.
Yeah, because, Ellick is 2 for 7. He's only got 2 catches out of 7 targets, and Chimere DK's got 1 catch out of 4 targets. Like, those aren't good catch rates, and they're getting an opportunity to do it, whereas, a guy like James Prochet, three catches on 4 targets. Bryce Oliver, 2 catches on 3 targets. Gunnar Helm is 5 for 5. We got to make sure that these younger guys, this Alec Manor and Chimere Dike, are stepping up, because everybody's been kind of talking about trying to get rid of Van Jefferson, right? Mm-hmm. Well, if you're going to get rid of Van Jefferson, you're replacing him with guys that haven't proven anything in the NFL yet. And that's why I kind of hesitate. I can understand maybe Alec Manor getting into the rotation and getting into the groove, but these guys have kind of shown that they're not ready right now, because you got to remember, they're going up against 2s and 3s. Mm-hmm. They haven't been going up against 1s. At least Van Jefferson has that experience in the NFL. Tyler Lockett has that experience in the NFL. So I agree with you. Got to see way more from them tonight. Let's go to Scott real quick, and we'll talk about the Tennessee Titans. Scott, you're on Blaine and Zach.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen. I just wanted to say something briefly. We're talking about a number 1 draft pick that we spent lots of money on. Mm-hmm. Tremendous talent. But I'm just trying to understand, why are we playing him on the 3rd preseason game? I just think we're taking a chance of getting him hurt. Hope it don't happen. Mm-hmm. But we're going to get set back again. We ain't really seen what the offensive line can do because of preseason, and don't want to get people hurt. But I think we're throwing him in a den. He could get hurt. That's all I want to call in, say.
That's the risk with any player that you play in the preseason.
Well, I think this game is a little different. Now, the offensive line's been out there as far as Zeitler. So he's gotten great protection to this point. Now that J.C. Latham is going to be out, so it's just I think you guys are going to laugh. I think you have to play him because it's the first and only preseason game. You got to put your prized possession out there, at least a series, so the fans can see it. It's a business side to this, too, than just about, we fear, man, if he's going to get hurt after 3 plays or 6 plays, then so be it, man. It wasn't meant to be. That's kind of how I view it. Are we going to teach fearless players, or are we going to teach players to be fearful? That's kind of my mindset as a coach, and I just think football's a tough sport, and guys can get injured, just no different than you driving a car, you can get in a wreck. So it's just the way it is. I think it's an opportunity to showcase just a little bit, to tease the fans, get them excited and pumped up about this season.
Just real quick, we're going to go to Keith, because we got to get to Jordan DeJaney here soon. Keith, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys, I'll just make this quick. Blaine, you can probably help me remember.
I don't know.
Back in the early 2000s, maybe the mid-2000s, we drafted 3 receivers one draft.
Oh, we did?
I know it was Courtney Roby, Roydell Williams, and there was another dude. I think they were all 3rd or 4th round draft picks who, a couple of them carved out, fairly nice careers, but never really did much. And I kind of feel like I'm starting to feel that way about this year's receiving group. Take Gunnar Helm out. I think he's going to do pretty well. But Iron Manor and DK, I feel like I'm starting to feel from back in the day when we had a couple of dudes that really just didn't do much.
I don't know if I'm going to go that far. Do you remember who's the players? Did you look it up?
Let me look it up real quick.
But, I don't know if I feel that way. I think these guys can potentially carve out roles, at least this first season. We're just wanting to see more early because their upside, we think, is going to be really good. So, but that's why I brought up, 3rd round, 4th round guys. When was the last time you had impactful receivers? Probably more so now than ever, but a lot of times that first season, not as much of an impact.
Brandon Jones was that 3rd wide receiver. Stoney had it, but it was Courtney Roby and Brandon Jones both drafted in the 3rd. And then in the 4th was Roydell Williams. This was also the Michael Roos, Pac-Man Jones, and David Stewart draft. And also Vincent Fuller, who actually played for a long time, and Bo Skate. That's kind of a good little draft there.
A good little draft there, yeah. Yeah, I think what they're thinking is that these guys are going to rise by the end of the season. Then next year, they're going to go draft whether 1st or 2nd round. They're going to get their pass rusher in the 1st round. 2nd round will be a big-time receiver. And then you put these 3 guys together, and all of a sudden now you have a receiving core that's young and growing all together with Cam Ward and Gunnar Ham.
That's so important. Okay, when we come back, we're going to go around the NFL with Jordan DeJaney of CBS Sports' Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, this is Blaine Bishop, and guys, we spend so much time focusing on external wins like jobs, fitness, and success, of course. But what about your internal performance? Your sexual health is just as important. And at Edge Peptide Therapy, they go beyond Band-Aids and blue pills, you know what I mean? Their treatments are designed to fix what's actually causing issues, whether it's low T, poor circulation, or stress. And listen, this isn't just for men with ED. If you're doing fine but want more stamina, more desire, more intensity, Edge can help you level up. So real medicine, real results. So get back to feeling like the alpha version that you are. And all you have to do is just go to edgepeptide.com. Yes, that's edgepeptide.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. It's a little bit later in the day on a Friday, but we're getting to Jordan DeJaney and going around the NFL with him. And Jordan, we're inching closer and closer to football season, regular season football, and I'm so excited. But the first question I have to know, do you think that Mike Vrabel has found the rats in his building yet?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on the show. And yes, I absolutely believe that Mike Vrabel, the Godfather, has found the rat in his facility, and that man is no longer with the job. If I know how Mike Vrabel operates, that's probably what exactly happened today. I'm sure you guys saw those comments. Like, he was very serious about it. He didn't like the injury information about Jalen Polk getting out there. And we had Jordan Schultz saying that he's going to be shut down for the year. I think we had ESPN saying that he's going to undergo shoulder surgery, but they're not sure about his recovery timetable. So Mike Vrabel was definitely not happy that some of that information got out there.
We've talked a lot about Mickey Loomis when you've been on off air, when you're not here, but we've talked a lot about Mickey Loomis. What in the world is he doing trading for Devon Vell? I mean, a 7th round pick last year just got flipped over to a 4th and a 7th round pick. How many times do you think Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos asked to make sure they heard them correctly?
I think that Mickey thought he was trading for Marquez Colston. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of right now. We've seen a lot of trades just over the past week, and I think that was probably the most shocking one, right? A 4th round pick. Crazy, and then a future 7th. I like Vele. He caught 41 for 475, 3 touchdowns, I think, last year. He's an older player. I think he turns 28, maybe in December, and he was drafted last year. He was a rookie. I remember him catching 8 passes for 39 yards in the season opener last year, just 4.9 yards per reception. And I'm kind of curious where he fits in with New Orleans, right? Not to say the Saints have the most amazing wide receiving core in the NFL, but you got Chris Olave, you got Rashid Shaheed, the guy who stretches the field. Also, remember, they brought in Brandon Cooks as well. Those guys seem like the starters. But to give a 4th round pick for an older rookie without tremendous production that a lot of people were kind of speculating on was definitely very shocking.
Well, another trade went down today. The NFL has gone trade happy these last few days. Was Brian Robinson got traded for a 6th round pick, which also makes the Devon Vele trade look even worse. But Brian Robinson gets traded to the San Francisco 49ers for a 6th round pick. And the 49ers have had terrible luck with running back injuries. He's going in to complement Christian McCaffrey. Seems like a perfect fit for Brian Robinson.
It does. I think that if I was a running back and I could pick one team to play for, it might be the 49ers. I think they do a great job scheming up the run to open up holes with that offensive line. With Brian Robinson, I really do like the player, but he's certainly not one of the more explosive running backs in the NFL. And with him kind of entering the final year of his deal with Washington, really excited about some of those younger running backs, it kind of made sense that he was going to be on his way out. And we know that Christian McCaffrey has struggled to remain healthy during the course of the majority of his NFL career. So Brian Robinson definitely may get some touches. But the main headline of this trade, of course, is Bill Krosky-Merritt, RB1 in Washington. I say that facetiously, but he's someone that a lot of people in fantasy circles are really excited about. I'd caution you there. I think that Washington still really likes Austin Eckler. They've got Chris Rodriguez Jr., who I think is a bit underrated as well. But Washington's running back room at large all of a sudden becomes very intriguing.
We're going around the NFL with Jordan DeJaney of CBS Sports.
Well, Jordan, I just saw this, so I'm going to just ask you this. Maybe it's a ding-dong question, but the Giants just released 8 players ahead of their 53-man roster deadline. So they already played, I'm assuming, so that's why they're doing that. Are any other players to watch maybe that the Titans don't play because they know they're going to release them unless they have to play them?
Yeah, I think that they were released because the Giants played last night with the Patriots. Yeah, but in terms of players who may or may not get cut, I have a list of some guys that I'm keeping an eye on, but they're definitely somewhat more notable names. I can go down that list if you'd like. But, I mean, this is one of my favorite times in the NFL because cutdown day is extremely dramatic, right? This is when all the scouts and the assistant general managers get their say. All those draft crushes for those day 3 picks or undrafted guys that didn't sign with them, they're going to be scouring the waiver wires for these guys. So I'm extremely excited to see really who gets released, not from the Titans, from the other teams to see who Tennessee can potentially get with that top waiver claim.
Who do you think? I just want to hear pass rusher and corner. Anybody come to mind that you think may be out there potentially?
Pass rusher at the top of my head, I'm not 100% sure, but there is one guy who I'm keeping an eye on at defensive back. I think he's related to you, right? Beanie Bishop Jr. From the Pittsburgh Steelers.
not anymore.
I think he's a guy that, either he's going to be a trade target, but I think that Beanie Bishop Jr. might be someone to keep an eye on this week.
Oh, man, you're going to pick my cousin. Why would you? Hey, now, this is a surprising story, and I was stunned to hear this. It kind of take me through. Andy Reid got shot at in his office late night, I guess, last year, May 4th, 2024. So, I mean, kind of take us through what this story was really about. I mean, why is it just not coming out, or did the people there in Kansas City know? They just didn't tell us?
Yeah, see, you ask a great question. Like, why are we just figuring this out? It sounds like a massive story that an NFL head coach was almost shot in his office. And I think what I can tell you is that there was a bullet fired into his office on May 4th. And according to reports, it struck a wall about just 15 feet away from Andy Reid's desk, and no one was injured. The police thought that it was a random act of violence and that no one was specifically targeted, even though it came close to, the best head coach in the NFL. So that was a pretty shocking story to just kind of drop on the head of the NFL world.
No doubt about it. To end with Jordan Tajani. I guess Anthony Richardson is toast now as the starter. Should he demand a trade? I mean, his agent is giving cryptic stuff out here, man. I don't know if he should demand a trade. Just kind of wait and see. What is going on here?
Called that man toast just now. Yeah, cracked me up.
Toast. He was toast when they signed Daniel Jones for $14 million as a backup. The going rate is like 8. Come on, man.
Yeah. See, you guys are a smart show because you talked about it on the day that Daniel Jones was signed or the week he was signed, that this wasn't going to be a legitimate quarterback competition. You don't give Daniel Jones that kind of money for him to be a backup or for this to have somewhat of a legitimate quarterback competition feel. And I actually wrote an article, a week or so ago looking at some of the odds in Vegas. If you wanted to bet on the quarterback competitions in the NFL, you could have gotten Daniel Jones at plus 180, which is just boggling to me. I know, seriously, it was unbelievable. Vegas didn't have their thumb on the pulse of this battle. But you ask a really good question, and I actually did an article looking at a couple potential landing spots for Anthony Richardson. When this situation came down, I immediately thought, what about next offseason? That's when Anthony Richardson could potentially get moved. But as you point to, the comments from his agent, he could have some kind of rush, if you will, to get Anthony Richardson in a new situation to be a backup somewhere else where he has a path to be the clear-cut starter. So I'm leaving the door open for Anthony Richardson to get moved before the start of next offseason. I think that's absolutely possible. But again, I think it's maybe more likely he gets moved next offseason. In terms of a couple teams to keep an eye on, I'm looking at the Los Angeles Rams. I think that he would be a great fit with Sean McVay, who's had great success with quarterbacks he's worked with. They're all in for a Super Bowl this year with a 37-year-old Matthew Stafford who is already dealing with back pain. He may play next year. We don't know that. This could be his final season. But Anthony Richardson working under Sean McVay could be really intriguing.
And lastly, man, the Browns. They have 4 quarterbacks. And I saw a video of Eric Dickerson, the legendary running back, say that the NFL told people not to draft Shador, and then they called Cleveland and said, draft him. We don't want to do this. That's why he was drafted by the Cleveland Browns. Do you think that's true?
No, I don't think it's true. I really hope it's not true, I think is the best answer I have for you. The thing that I thought about was everyone had Shador Sanders as probably quarterback 2, if not quarterback 3, maybe by some analysts, right? But you don't have a guy like that dropping to the 5th round. So if I'm someone, an NFL general manager, I'd like to think that I would not follow the NFL's wishes. If I get into the second round or third round, whatever it is, I would want Shedeur Sanders on my team because I think he's a player that should be selected a little bit higher than that. Again, I don't think that he's going to have the pathway to be some kind of NFL star, but he's worth much more than a fifth-round pick. So my answer is I really hope that's not true.
And I got one more, though. Which ding-dongery organization, whether it's Jerry Jones, Parsons, McLaren, Scary Terry, their commanders, or Trey Hendrickson with the bumbling Bengals, who does the right thing by these three players? And who does the wrong thing?
I'll tell you, I do think it's a crapshoot. I'm going to lean towards Terry McLaurin with Washington. I would imagine that maybe McLaurin is coming down from his asking price, and he really has his sights set on a Super Bowl. So I think McLaurin ends up getting a deal done before the start of the regular season. One thing I'll point out about Trey Hendrickson very quickly, he was in Bengals gear on the sideline for that preseason game in Washington talking with his teammates. I thought that was a very good sign, and we also got reporting saying that, hey, the Bengals and Hendrickson, they're not far away on a lot of these details when it comes to a complicated contract. So maybe that's something that gets resolved. By the way, Terry McLaurin was not in attendance at that home game for the preseason. When it comes to Micah Parsons, I mean, we can spend hours on this, so I'm not going to hold you too long, but it just seems like a soap opera, right? Like this whole saga coinciding with the release of that Cowboys documentary everybody's been really excited about. It's really good in my opinion, but it just doesn't, it seems like reality TV. And I understand that people love the reality TV, right? A lot of people want to spend 5 months watching a guy pick a fake wife on ABC. I just really struggle that how much of this is real and how much of this is more of the process. And last night with all the things that took place, I can be honest with you. I've been adamant that I think Micah's going to re-sign with Dallas. I think last night was the first time that my faith was shaken a bit. So I texted our reporter in Dallas and I said, hey, has your faith been shaken a little bit with what happened last night? And he texted me back saying, nope, LOL.
Oh.
And does that include what Jerry Jones just told Stephen A. Smith about David Mugoletta and said that he shouldn't be involved in the negotiations?
Yeah, I don't know if it actually included those comments, which is ridiculous because isn't that against the CBA?
Yes.
Isn't that illegal in the NFL?
It's illegal.
Jerry Jones loves trying to negotiate contracts outside of the presence of the agent, which is just something you can't do. And if you're a smart player, which Micah Parsons is, you're not going to go put pen to paper without speaking to your representation. So, again, it's reality TV. It's a soap opera. I'm just trying to figure out how much of it is real and how much of it is part of the process.
All right, now let's talk about something that's real serious. You talked about the documentary. All jokes aside. Did they even mention for the Cowboys in that documentary? When I was in Houston, there was a lot of stories out there, and I just want to know if they even brought this up. The White House party. Did they bring any of that up, man? Because they talking about like this was a thing in Dallas, that they had this house that they would have parties at all the time.
Yeah, you weren't invited? I mean,
no. I don't know. I'm going to nothing like that. So it was real. It was a thing.
Yes, they absolutely addressed that in the documentary. Yes, sir.
What? Can you give me some details on that?
Maybe some illegal substances, maybe some women. They rented out a house because a lot of members of the Cowboys during those days really liked to party, so they needed a party central, and that's what the White House was.
Oh.
Michael Irvin was the only player in the documentary that was willing to talk about the White House.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I got a little article we'll talk about when we come back, maybe.
That's who used to tell me about the White House.
There you go. Jordan, we really appreciate it. The NFL season's almost here.
I'm excited, guys. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks. Jordan Janey of CBS Sports. We go around the NFL with him every Friday. When we come back, we'll wrap up our talk about the Tennessee Titans, and maybe we'll talk about this White House that Michael Irvin was willing to talk about. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Want to know about a place where European auto repair doesn't feel like a European auto repair? Well, hey, it's Blaine Bishop to tell you that the moment you walk into Eurofix, you'll notice Eurofix is not your typical greasy garage. The waiting rooms, they're clean, comfortable, and inviting. Service areas are spotless. Why? Because Eurofix cares about everything from how you are treated to how your vehicle is treated. And every repair comes with a rock-solid 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all repairs by Eurofix that they perform, and at below dealer pricing. You don't have to put up with dealer prices or get ghosted when you're waiting on a callback as well. And Eurofix fixes everything European, plus a rental car is available with every appointment. Located all over the state in Nashville, Franklin, Belmead, and Murfreesboro, as well as Mount Juliet. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. We were talking about the White House and the America's Team documentary that's on Netflix about the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones. Not the White House in Washington, D.C., but the Party House in Irving, Texas. And we got Philly Mike, who has called in, and he has some info on the White House. Philly Mike, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, Blaine and Zach, what's going on, man?
What's going on?
All right. Hey, this is all clean, okay? So it's all clean. But I was working for Coca-Cola in Houston at the time, so Texas was my territory. So Pepsi came in and cut a deal with the Dallas Cowboys, so we couldn't do anything with the team. So what our executives did, we cut a deal with Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman, and Emmitt Smith, the triplets. So they were our spokespersons for our Powerade brand. So we had those three guys. And we heard about the White House, and most of the activity happened on Monday night. Because, Blaine, what happens on Tuesday? Tuesday is an off
day
day.
Off. Uh-huh.
That's correct. So all the happenings after they come back from the game on Sunday, Monday was the big night at that place in Irving, Texas. And we heard a lot of, open bar. They had that thing stacked with food, liquor, flat screens, TVs, everything back in the day. So that was like their party house. And one day, about a year later in San Antonio, Drew Pearson, we had him sign some autographs at one of the Exxon grand openings, and he was telling me, man, he said he's seen some parties, but, man, nothing like what he saw in that White House, man. So that's all I got. That was the happening, and that was their place to have fun.
Thank you, Philly Mike, for that info. I mean, that's some pretty good info, delivering maybe a different kind of Coke to the party than the other kind. Because I had to get that one off. It was just right there teed up for me. It was just teed up for me.
That was alley-oop.
Huh?
That was alley-oop.
Yeah, that was alley-oop. That was easy.
Oh, man.
So in episode 5, if you want to skip the entire documentary and just want to find out more about the White House, in episode 5 is when it happens, and several athletes declined to speak on the subject. And we quickly learned these guys, this is the director, we quickly learned these guys don't want to go anywhere near the White House. We brought that up to Michael Irvin in the interview, and his answer was, dude, I was the president of the White House. And then he just dove in and was funny and charming and hilarious about this pretty wild story. And it goes on to say the White House was an Irving, Texas home located near the Cowboys practice facility in Valley Ranch. McLean, who's the director, describes it as a party house that follows the 90s Cowboys mythic lore. Mm-hmm. If you were alive in the 90s, you know what that was about. I just referenced it. I just referenced the mythic lore about it. And in Irving's own words, the house was a safe place for camaraderie, adding that it had 5 rooms and whatever you liked, you could mingle with your like. So there you go.
Oh, Mike Irvin is the best, isn't he?
Yeah, they said that it was the most fun they had interviewing throughout this whole thing. He had us just dying from laughter a handful of times. There were a few takes that we ruined behind the camera from laughing so hard. Then minutes later, he'd have you crying with some really profound, insightful story. The way that he was able to captivate was unique from a filmmaking perspective. But episode 5, you want to go find out more about the White House.
Playmaker is always entertaining, for sure.
So let's move to the Tennessee Titans. I know it's hard to move from the White House to Tennessee Titans.
The White Party House.
The White Party House. What Cedric Gray is getting the start again next to Cody Barton. Is that really telling about how that competition is playing out? Because I'm sure the competition isn't over, but it kind of feels like what seemed like James Williams' job throughout the beginning part of the offseason is now turned into Cedric Gray taking over.
That's kind of interesting. I want to say just theoretically no, but I think they want to see him again. This time, Cody Barton and him matched up together and see if it's a nice little duo. And can he do it back-to-back with consistency, in his play? So that's kind of how I view it. And if he does, then to me, he wins the job. I think he's already run the job. I think he will do it consistently. Guys who can read and diagnose like that, they don't change.
Yeah. The other spot that are kind of open for competition is the backup offensive line spot. Oli Udoh, who is a journeyman, has been around since 2019, and he's played a couple different spots. He got the initial spot at left tackle when Dan Moore went down with injury. Mm-hmm. John Ojukwu is another guy fighting for that spot, and Jalen Duncan. The roster math may not allow them to keep 10 because I think they're keeping Blake Hansen, Jackson Slater, and obviously Corey Levin. So that's 3 already to the additional 5.
Is Duncan in trouble?
I don't know. So
he may not play this game, and that will tell you everything.
To me, it's like it feels like Duncan's on the outside looking in. Now, I'm aware of some knowledge that Jalen Duncan last year was their favorite of all those right tackles, but he got injured. Now, this is a totally different year, and a totally different situation with other players improving. But it sounds like maybe the John Ojukwu, Jalen Duncan thing may be on the way out, but maybe that tonight those guys can secure their roster spot with the performance. Like it's a true competition tonight at that spot.
Yeah, that's going to be critical. Yeah, that's going to be fun to watch right there.
That's like if you are not a person that really likes to watch a whole preseason game, and I understand that there's quite a few people that are like that, that is something like who gets to start tonight on the offensive line with J.C. Latham gone. That's one piece of the puzzle. What do they do with that opportunity? And then what do those guys behind him do with their opportunities? Because that seems like when you start putting together the lists of players that are going to be on this roster starting on Monday that survived the cuts for the initial 53, it really seems like there's only maybe like one or two spots really in competition. And that's one of them, is that who's the swing tackle for that team straight off the bench if J.C. Latham or Dan Moore were to have to miss time at any point.
Man, I still, this was going to be a tough one. Do you see any other spots that may be questionable as far as them not making a team? Not in a certain spot.
I'm a little interested to see how Mike Brown versus Julius Wood shakes out.
Do you think that's a battle?
I think there could be a battle, and that's just off of we had Justin Mello on yesterday, and I've kind of been watching Julius Wood.
But I told you I liked Wood after the Falcons game.
Right. But we had him on, and he said that they really like him.
He did.
And so I'm thinking, Julius Wood has popped for 2 games straight, has popped. He has a history with Bones Fossil that is from the Cowboys. So there's special teams there. And I know Mike Brown is a personal protector for the punter, but I do wonder when the roster mess starts shaking out, does Bones Fossil maybe pull for his boy? Because we know that, he's pretty vocal. He didn't get Julius Wood last year, mind you, because Julius Wood was cut at this time last year and claimed by the Titans. But I do wonder if that competition right there is a little bit more open.
Kind of go through the safeties already going to be on the roster.
So Quandre Diggs.
See, I think that's a question mark.
You think it's a question mark?
Watch this. Here's why. Here's the only reason why.
Yeah.
I think, he's good enough. If he had to wait this long to get signed, if you cut him, who's picking him up? So you got to play this cat and mouse game for roster manipulation. Not to say he's not going to be on there on week 1, but if you're going to take a risk,
I can see that.
The vet with 3 stitches or 3 different holes were made on his foot, 11-year vet, to a young player, then you say, oh, well, we'll pick him up. And then you go with the young players. I don't know. I'm just saying if I was thinking outside the box.
I don't know.
No, but
that sounds pretty good. I mean, but I would say
Woods,
I would say to keep 5 safeties because we don't know where Kevin Winston's at. Really, I mean, they do. We don't.
Right.
Where
but I'd say he's locked. I mean, so that's 4 right there.
But I talk about availability wise.
Oh, I think he's gonna be.
I think he would be too, but you just never know.
We don't know
because they change their mind all the time with information on these injuries. It feels like all injuries.
So
the
who's
Tennessee
your
Titans.
top 5?
I think it's going to be. I think I'm going to go with Julius Wood as the guy that rounds out the 5th part. I think Mike Brown's the odd man out.
Oh, I think Mike Brown's a lock.
All right, there you go. All right, that will do it for us. 3HL's up next. They're going to take you all the way up to 6 o'clock for Titans Radio before the game starts tonight. Everybody have fun this weekend. We'll see you on Monday. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 105 The Zone. And in the meantime.
And in between time.
Peace.